Hey guys, welcome back to the RapChat Podcast. It's your hosts Luke Dick,
Elias Eldridge,
Sam Kenny.
good to be back with you guys. Before we head into the podcast, if you're, you can follow us on at RapChat Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at RapChat Podcast, where we post new clips every week. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating and also leave us a review. Okay, awesome. Welcome to the show, everybody.
what's going on?
Welcome.
Good to have everybody back listening.
Undefeated week.
Yes,
sir.
4-game winning
4-0.
streak.
and we're on the road. We only have one game, I think, at
Two
home.
at home, including the Indiana one on last Wednesday was at home.
Oh, right, it was
Yeah,
at home.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
at home. Okay,
Undefeated on the road to start the season.
That's wild,
crazy.
man. That's crazy. I think we were just speaking before, but it was like we knew the Raptors were gonna do well, but I think they're exceeding expectations.
Last
far.
week, we talked about is a slow start okay?
Yeah,
now
yeah.
we're like
Yeah,
over
like-
here.
Completely
Drunk.
drastically different episode.
Oh God, yeah. It's so funny to compare. Like I honestly think the way that we started our very first episode is so
Oh my
fucking
God.
perfect. If you watch the first one and then you watch,
We're like all
this-
depressed, like
Maybe it's unhealthy that our mood
Like, guys,
relies
I
on the
don't-
Raptors so much. Like my mental health,
like it's gonna be a long season.
one loss.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a
but
bad loss.
It was a bad loss.
I was
It
looking at like
horrible.
2022 NBA draft rankings and
yeah,
stuff.
we're,
Like,
we're like Chet Holmgren on the
yeah,
Raptors.
like, I'm watching like high school highlights. Like, oh, it's
I can't wait for these guys.
And you're like thinking, I wonder if it would have been better if we got a Jalen Suggs or
Yeah.
fucking, or Evan Mobley or
so
something.
funny.
Okay, so what do we have first here on
We
the?
got our game recaps.
Okay, game recap. So I think I had the.
I've got the
no,
first
no,
one.
We're
you've got
starting with
We're
Orlando.
gonna start
yeah.
with Orlando.
Okay. Oh yes, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got that. Oh wait, did we want to touch on the Indiana game last
I think
Wednesday?
we'll touch on it as we go back around.
Because we did
Okay.
Indiana on
Yes.
Saturday
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
so we'll-
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. So Sam's gonna start us off with the Orlando game.
All right.
At Toronto. That was what day was that?
That was Friday the 29th.
Friday, November 29th.
Yeah, big game. You know, Scotty Barnes against Jalen Suggs. You know, you heard the Scotty's
Right.
better chance
Yeah.
while Jalen's at the free throw
Which
line.
is low key facts.
It's not even low
not
key,
low
dude.
key.
It's
man.
high key facts.
High key, okay.
Sorry. Just before you start, Sam, big Raptors news. The NBA has just ranked their official rankings for the rookies, and Scotty Barnes is number one.
Oh,
we
yeah, we
just
saw that. We saw that on the way here.
Yeah, that ties in.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I think it's important to know that.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
Let's go. That's
the number
crazy.
one
Let's
ranked
go,
the
Scotty
number one ranked
Barnes.
rookie Scotty Barnes came out against Orlando and scored the first 7 points, all off
Yes, sir.
jumpers, two
Yes, sir.
mid ranges, a really nice
And a
three. He was
three.
fired up. Yeah, the Raptors. This was like actually a really close game, which maybe is a little bit concerning, but the Raptors were up 3 after the first. Now into the second, Scotty Barnes keeps it going. 10 points in the second. He's got 19 at the half.
God.
But Cole Anthony starts to come alive. He killed us all night.
Right.
And the
He
Raptors
was really good. He was really good.
really, really good. Him and Wendell Carter were both really good, and Jalen Suggs. And the Raptors were up 3 at the half. Coming out, the defense for the Raptors was really shaky, like especially like keeping guys out of the paint. And I thought Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs really got downhill. That opened up things for Orlando's bigs. And the Raptors were actually down 1 entering the fourth quarter. And it was a really, really weird fourth quarter. Like just highs and
vibes
lows.
were-
I thought
yeah.
at one point it was going to be a blowout, and we won. And then next thing you know, it's a 1-point game. But thanks to FEV and OG, they combined for 26. They're the only two guys that score other than Boucher and Scotty, who I think only combined for like 7 in the quarter. They combined for
Wow.
26. You're
Wait, Boucher
veterans.
scored?
He had 5 points actually
Wow.
in the fourth quarter. they combined for 26 in the
I
quarter.
thought you're just like so surprised. You're just like,
joking.
really?
I'm joking.
Really, Chris?
Boucher contributed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, Chris. Really, Chris? Yes,
Oh, poor
Elias.
Chris.
You're sure? You're sure it's Chris? Can you want to pull?
It's
You want to
the
pull
same
that?
double check.
Yeah,
Chris,
you want to pull that up?
Chris Boucher, right? Well, the Raptors, their lead was up to 12 at one point. I thought it was game, but Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs
Yeah,
keep
they
it
fought,
going.
man. They fought
Oh.
real hard.
Suggs had a 4-point play.
You know
Yeah,
what, man?
and missed
And-
opportunities for the Raptors too. Missed
I'm actually
opportunities.
really impressed with Orlando because they have just not. They have not been having the greatest last couple years. Orlando. They've been
No.
struggling.
They've been
Yeah,
they haven't been
yeah,
good
it's
since
true.
Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
True, and it's tough because I feel like they have a good energy down there in Orlando.
Sure.
They've got good fans. They've like just as good as any other fan
Yeah,
base
they
in
got
the
Disney
NBA.
World and-
Exactly. There's a lot of great things about Orlando. It just sucks that they our
Sucks it's in Florida.
and it's just now that it's coming
Like,
around. But
Miami overshadows him so hard. in
oh
Florida.
god,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, we enter the last possession of the game, or a little less than 6 seconds on the clock. The Raptors are only up 1. Orlando inbounds it to Cole Anthony, who is got 26 at this point, and Gary Trent Jr. keeps his amazing start of the season alive with amazing defense, pokes the ball away, pokes it to the backcourt. The half-court heave doesn't go, and the Raptors win 110-109.
Let's go. Were we watching that game together?
We rewatched it.
Oh yeah.
We rewatched it.
We
Oh yes.
rewatched it.
No,
Took a little bit of the excitement away.
Yes. Right. Okay. And so next we have, and then this is the game we watched right after. It was my game. Yes, against Indiana. And to be honest, man, I had more fun. This was the Friday game again. The 20.
This is the Saturday
This
game.
this
This
is
is
Saturday
the Saturday game.
back,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry,
We
Saturday.
yeah.
Oh yes, right.
See, we rewatched Orlando, then we
And
watched
then-
Indiana right after.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I honestly think watching the Orlando game was just a more exciting game than this last
Yeah, it
Indiana
was.
game. It was so
This one was
It was
just
a
slow. It was
great-
a slog, yeah.
It was
we were sitting on the couch and we were all just like, I don't even know what to say. This is just like it's boring, man. This is just sluggish.
it was so sloppy and everything. Yeah.
It was extremely sloppy. So I got first quarter. I noticed first quarter that Gary's defense was good. His defense was coming out strong. It was a sluggish start, and Delano came out with good energy and good choices. I think it was important that we had guys like Delano come out and provide some energy onto the court. I mean, I think the problem with Delano right now is the fact that since he's not as developed as a player, he'll bring the energy, but it's not like he can be extremely productive. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
not like Fred. You know what I mean? He's not as productive as Fred. So the energy that he brings is great. But I think over the years, what we're going to be looking forward to seeing out of Delano is, maybe a guy coming off the bench, maybe he's starting in years future to come, but to bring that energy, but also the production.
Right.
Second quarter, and again, another sluggish second quarter.
Sluggish game, man.
Yeah.
I did write down that Svi had some nice plays. He had a 3 that was really noticeable, and he had a dunk that was.
Oh yeah, behind the back.
Behind the back with the left hand.
Yes,
Yeah,
and it was that made it
huge.
on the highlight, right? It was the
Yeah.
one where he crossed over
Yeah.
and just slammed it down. This guy comes out of nowhere and just like
He
has just.
hit 15 that game, didn't he? Something like
Yes,
that.
I'll talk about that just a bit later about his stats. But I think so. Svi had 16 points.
Yeah.
And in the fourth quarter, Gary's shooting improved in the fourth quarter. I think that's what helped them win. Is he hit a lot of mid rangers that kind of put them ahead a bit. His defense was again really great. Fred had that deep 3, that really deep 3.
He's
which
having
was,
one of those a game. I feel like
What's that?
he's having like one of those every game.
Yeah,
now,
he
I feel
does,
like.
man. Yeah,
Right from the top,
and
like
it's
right
such a
inside the
clutch
logo.
one too.
I know.
Like,
He's
it's
been
such a
so
clutch 3.
He
Yeah.
was so clutch all
Super
week.
clutch. And then the last thing I really wanted to shout out, the real MVP of this game, the absolute real MVP of this game was Matt Devlin, man. His
That's right, man.
fucking voice. Shout out to Matt
Oh,
Devlin,
he was.
dude.
I felt so
Oh
bad
my
for him,
God.
man.
We always went to overtime. It's like I couldn't do overtime
Dude,
with the
no.
scratchy voice.
And it was so bad. It was so bad. I don't know why his voice was so bad, but
Smoked
Jesus,
like a pack
he
of
was,
cigarettes before the game and just started recording.
He was just down in those fisherman's friends. You know, he was just absolutely
Nick
dieseling
Nurse
them.
probably hit him or gave him some of his.
Oh, he's got the endorsement.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have more thoughts on this game, but do we want to go around
Yeah, we
again?
can-
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
we'll
we'll
elaborate.
discuss
All right,
further.
so then Elias, go ahead with your game.
Yeah, so this is our first game of the year without Scotty Barnes. He hurt his thumb at the very end of the game against Indiana. And we all said in the group chat once Scotty was officially out for the game, we were like, oh no, at first. And we're like, well, no, this could be interesting though.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting to see us without Scotty Barnes.
You're talking about the Knicks game,
Next
right?
game,
This-
yeah.
yeah.
So first quarter, we were down by 8 at the end of it. We couldn't hold Julius Randle. He was 4 or 5 from 3. The whole team was 8 for 13 from 3 of the New York Knicks.
He was splashing, dude. He
Yeah,
was
their whole
splashing.
team at the start of the game was splashing like crazy. We started Svi. I probably should have mentioned that, which was also very interesting. We thought it was going to be either Delano, maybe Boucher starting.
We thought Bonga too before we thought.
Yeah,
Svi.
we thought. Yeah, I didn't even consider Svi starting. For
No.
some reason.
And I'll have some interesting things to say about Svi
Yeah.
because the Orlando game was the game before this Knicks game.
No,
no,
the Indiana game.
The Indiana game. That was my
Yeah,
game. Sorry.
yeah.
The Indiana, that's the one I'm talking about. The Indiana game was the one before the Knicks game. And I have some interesting stats on Svi, and I
Yeah.
can see why they started him in better context.
No,
but-
yeah, absolutely. So they were killing us after the first quarter. They hit 8 of the 13 threes. And we were down by 8. Then we go into the second quarter, and we started to come back into it with our defense. We held New York to only 19 points in the second, as opposed to 23. Sorry. So it's still better though than 34 originally. And we saw Champagny get into the game.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I remember that.
But it was a lot of our defense got us back into it. But Precious, he was not good,
Yeah, he had
and
a
it
bit of a
really showed in the
disappointing
second
game,
quarter. He was
yeah.
1 for 9 on the game, 9 rebounds, but yeah, only 2 points, 1 for 9. The only 2 points that lob from Fred at the very start of the game.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, but going to halftime, only down 4 against again the New York Knicks, one of the top teams in the league, and then.
You had to put
Just
that in.
saying.
Yeah, you had to put that in.
Just saying.
As he starts to pull down the banner.
Yes, I got my RJ
revealing
Barrett
mine.
jersey right here.
It's all like tiny folded up in his pocket slowly, like giant RJ Barrett jersey.
Just take my hoodie off of an RJ Barrett jersey.
Yeah.
So we go into the third, starting with Kem Birch instead of Precious, starting with the starters, going to the second half. Gary goes off. Svi broke Mitchell Robinson's ankles. Want to point that out.
Man, they didn't post that anywhere, dude.
I know.
That highlight.
I know,
was
and even
pissed
but
off.
Matt definitely didn't even get hype about it. So I was
I
like, I was like,
know.
did we miss something?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Dude.
I almost forgot about it. But
I
just forgot.
commented
Yeah.
on the Raptors page, and I was like, "You're gonna post like OG had a dunk. It was a good dunk or a step back. It was OG's step
an okay
back.
dunk.
No. OG had
No, I
a
know
nice
what you
step
mean,
back,
yeah.
and it was whatever. I think he hit it in like Quickly's face or something. It was nice, but I'm like, dude, Svi just like broke this guy's ankles
And then hit-
dribble penetrated in,
Hit OG.
free throw line extended. Beautiful pass, overhead pass to OG, and OG hits the fucking 3, man. I
Yeah.
was like,
That's what we do, man. We talk about the underrated plays over here at RapChat.
like, come on, man. You can't get this content anywhere else, man. Anywhere
Subscribe.
else.
Hit that bell.
Yeah, come on, man. We deserve it. Bringing up these highlights, man.
So
Fuck.
speaking of those 5 guys, they played the entire third quarter.
Holy
Fred,
shit.
Gary, OG, Svi, and Kem Birch played the entire third quarter. And at the end of the third quarter, we were up by 12. So we started
worth
taking
it.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then the fourth quarter came along, went kind of back and forth there. There's one play where Gary came down kind of weird off a jump, and for half a second I thought he tore his ACL, and I almost
Oh,
cried.
right.
You know
I
what I'm talking
remember that.
about?
Yes,
I was
yeah,
like,
yes,
no. And then he like
Fuck.
limped for a second. I was like, it happened. It happened. It's an after.
Tough. Tough.
He's fine though. He played the rest of the game. And then so New York went on one run though, and OG had a huge 3 right of a timeout. That was like the dagger.
Yeah, it
And,
was. It truly was, man.
Yeah, and Svi had a good game shooting too. He shot a lot more threes than I've seen him shoot all season. And I thought
Yes,
that was
He was
man.
aggressive.
Yeah,
he looked really good.
totally.
Yeah.
He seemed less chaotic
Yes.
in his playing.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I
Um,
think maybe that was playing with the starters too, because I feel like off the bench, maybe he thinks he has to be that guy.
Yeah.
So maybe that's because of playing with the starters. But anyway, yeah.
I
good
think,
game
but
from
it's
Svi
it's
also.
those. See, the thing is that it's those strategic moves that allows, and this is why Nick Nurse is such a great coach, because you're gonna, if you start somebody like Svi and then he starts playing this well, now when he comes off the bench, he may not feel that sort of same pressure to be that guy because he now knows how to integrate himself in the group.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right. Yeah.
mean?
He's not over dribbling. He's not.
Exactly. So when he
Yeah.
comes in as that guy off the bench, he's like, oh, well, I started the other day. I don't necessarily, and I found my rhythm and groove. So I know what role I've got to play now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have to be the main guy.
Yeah.
But
No.
we'll talk about this a bit later.
Yeah.
So let's go game thoughts all around all the
All right,
games. So
sort of
we're
the
going to
Magic
start.
game?
Which one was this? It's
The Magic game, yeah.
yes.
I thought this was like, there's been so many amazing games, but Scotty Barnes in that first half was like so special. The fact that coming in from Florida State, his mid range, like his
Yeah.
jumper was like just
Non-existent.
like I didn't think there was any sign of a jumper until like the third year, and his mid range shots and like the 3 he hit like was just like and smooth looking shots.
Like,
He's
if
being
you give it
aggressive with a shot.
In 2 years, it's gonna be like lethal. It's gonna be
Oh,
like
You think?
God, dude. Oh,
and he's
my
willing. He's willing to
goodness.
take them. Like that's
Oh,
the biggest thing.
yeah.
He's willing
Dude,
to take them.
Nick Nurse, I'm pretty sure after that game was, and I think I said this to you guys too, was he needs to shoot more. Nick was like, I love to see him shooting, but to be honest, I want to see him shooting more.
What do you say? Yeah, he's had like 17 shots or something, and it was like the most shots in the team. and he got asked about it at the end of the game, and he was like, "That's good, but I want to see him shoot more
You
than
want to
that."
see him shoot more. Yeah, exactly. And then like I think as us Raptors fans and anybody who watches the games, you agree.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I'm happy he's saying that too. He's like, give him the keys. He's like, go do your thing.
That's
like
how you know
green light.
he's doing his job as a coach. So what else there, Sam?
I mean, it's been a theme all year, but I mean, Gary Trent on both ends of the floor was just like just playing his role. His defense is just like I've never seen an improvement like this because he was just I didn't think he was a bad defender last year. Like,
I can't get over the fact
he was a bad defender last year.
No, he was. Yeah,
he's a legitimately like plus defender. Like he's getting
yes.
into guys. He's getting so many steals. What's he averaging right now? Like
8 steals, no,
he like averaging a game. He has like I think it's like 2.8
2
or
point
something.
yeah, 2 point something.
Yeah,
it's leading the league still. I think
it's crazy. I mean, whatever it is,
he's
got 22 total steals. The next on the team is Fred with 13.
Wow, and just look at that gap, man.
Yeah,
you know. The thing that's deceiving about Gary is that he doesn't look like a quick guy.
No.
And it's not like he's
like
super
athletic
quick.
or anything.
He's not that athletic.
But he just knows how to move himself.
He's got good instincts.
He's got great instincts. And that's what's great about it is that he isn't really a super fast player, but he makes very strategic moves.
Yep.
He's not like one thing that especially like that I noticed with Precious is that I think Precious has a difficult time knowing where exactly he should be at all times, especially on defense. And I think that a lot of times there were points in the game where they would just drive right in, and Precious, it was his defensive rotation, and he would just be like, double teaming a guy who doesn't even have the ball. You know what I mean? Like, and then leaves a wide open gap right underneath the basket, and they just go in. And this happened especially in the Knicks game, I think. Did Precious play in the start of that game?
Yeah, he started the first half.
And there was a drive where RJ Barrett literally just like went in and just did a layup, and it was just like Precious wasn't even looking in that way. You know what I mean? And it was disappointing to see that sort of stuff. But it was not that there's not potential. I don't want to shit on Precious, but I'm only using that example to say that I'm very proud of Gary for being able to find himself. On the court and find his best defensive position.
Precious has been weird so far. Like he had those really games where he started the season like with 4 straight doubles or something.
Yeah,
it was 15 games. The past few games he's been not good.
No, it's just stuff like he doesn't know. I mean, this is probably better. It'll be better to talk about this in the Knicks game, but it's just like little things. Like he doesn't fit with the starting unit. I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
He's trying to be too much of his guy. He's got a higher
maybe
usage.
not yet. Maybe
not yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like it's just he doesn't. I think he has trouble like playing off ball and knowing when to pick his spots and how to blend with the other guys and how to kind of as like a lot of times in the league now as a starting center you kind of have to sacrifice yourself. So that means like actually setting the screen. He loves to slip screens because he wants to roll every time.
Yeah.
But you've got to get a body. Like that's why Kim Birch like he gets his body on the guy every time. Because it's good to slip every once in a while, but if you're slipping every time, the defense knows it's coming. And now the ball handler is getting no advantage because there's no screen being set for him.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he has a scoring mentality right now because I think that's what he had in summer league.
Yes.
And that's what he has right now, and you can't have that when you're the 5th guy in the starting lineup.
Yeah,
you know
100%.
No, that's I think his move to the bench, which I think will.
I think it's going to continue.
That's going to let him be the scoring. Like he can focus down the scoring because he doesn't have they need it off the bench.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't fit in the starting lineup. I also just want to mention. This was the first game. It wasn't by much, but we got rebounded on the offensive rebounds, 12-9, which isn't like that bad.
That's Orlando's advantage having 2 centers starting.
Yeah, and I thought honestly that we hung in there. Like they've got 2 really, like they both had like Bamba and Wendell Carter have both been really good this year. 2 breakout years, and the Raptors I thought handled them well enough.
I think they could have done better, man. I think that game was the start of that sort of sluggish landslide.
Sure.
That's why I don't think that game was extremely entertaining either.
Yeah, it was that 2-game stretch with that, but it's tough with our because we played Orlando and Indiana back to back. Both are technically starting 2 centers.
Yes. So
Yeah, Mo Bamba had 18 rebounds that game.
That's
and Wendell had 12.
Yeah.
So
jeez.
And Wendell Carter had 4 offensive rebounds. Bamba had 3, and Franz Wagner had 3 as well. So, and they were plus like the Raptors really won this game against Orlando's bench. Like Cole Anthony was a plus 16, Wendell Carter was a plus 12, Bamba was a plus 10, and I think the Raptors really, like Chris Boucher and Kem Birch plus 18 and plus 15. And I actually thought this was one of Chris's better games, just being a hustler, knocking down the open shot, and Kem Birch I thought was just playing his role and being awesome off the bench.
Gary Harris was minus 16
Yeah.
compared to like Cole Anthony's plus 16. That's crazy.
Right, so the Raptors really
The
like,
bench sucked.
maybe that's like, I think that's also a lot to do with Delano Banton just really having free reign. With Dragic was sent. Hasn't played since since last week, since the Bulls game.
He hasn't played for that 4-game winning streak. He hasn't played the entire time.
Nope.
Even
on a second night
honestly,
back-to-back.
man, I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
Why do we don't need Goran playing right now?
Let Malachi and Delano do their thing.
Exactly, and he doesn't even provide a whole lot to the team.
He doesn't
at
add
this
to our
point.
winning.
He
like,
doesn't.
If us playing Delano over him does not change how many games we're going to win.
Yeah.
Especially with how the Raptors want to play.
Exactly. And the thing is too is that I don't know. I think Dragic doesn't. He knows that he's a very knowledgeable veteran NBA player, but I think that he knows that he doesn't even really fit on the team. Like I think it was almost like when we got Gary Trent and we also got Rodney Hood. It was like
why is Rodney
okay,
Hood? That was just for salary.
Yeah,
exactly.
Goran was just for salary.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
It.
And Rodney Hood's playing for the Bucks now.
Yeah.
And I like him on the Bucks. I think that's a better fit.
He's a shooter.
It's a better fit than he was on the Raptors. But I think it was one of those same sorts of trades. The main piece was Precious in the Miami trade, and the main piece was Gary Trent Jr. in the Portland
those
trade.
guys are just because they have to make the contract.
Exactly. I mean, but you know what? That also it's good for us too because now we were able to free up cap space by giving away somebody like Rodney Hood, and now we're going to be able to free up some space by giving away a player like Goran. And to be honest, we don't even need him, man.
No. Well, but it's also good though because he's built a really good relationship with Scotty Barnes.
Yeah,
he seems to have a positive attitude towards the team.
Oh no, and that's exactly.
It's like John Wall.
John
Wall in Houston. Like John Wall's really like taken into just being
he's like present.
Like he's just gonna be like a coach almost.
Yeah.
Like he knows I'm just gonna wait till I either get bought out or traded. And Goran's in the same thing. Like I'm gonna help out when I can. Practices, just be there.
And at that age, he knows that he can't be as productive anyways. So he's like, why would I sacrifice my entire body when I'm 35 for a team that I don't really belong, quote unquote, belong on?
He's on the long-term plans.
On the long-term plans, exactly, right? And the average age of the Raptors, I think it might drop a little bit.
Oh yeah, in the next few weeks, or I think.
You think he's gonna be that soon?
I think he's gonna get bought out soon.
You think so?
Yeah,
I don't know if they'll buy him out.
I think he's gonna.
I don't think he's gonna agree to it.
I bet he says no to the money. I think a ring. I think he wants to get a ring.
Speaking of it, maybe I don't know. We'll see. I can see him going to Golden State if he gets bought out. They need a backup point guard.
Sure.
I think Luka needs some help in Dallas. Holy fuck.
That also, but with Goran help, I don't know. Stay tuned, I guess.
They're pretty tight.
Jalen Brunson's kind of just like a better Goran Dragic.
Yeah.
At this point, right?
Yeah. I like Brunson.
So Elias,
you got yours.
My game. Sorry. Last game thoughts was yes. So Scotty, I think, showed the most consistency out of any player on that and during that game. I think I think we noticed when we watched that game that he still had a little bit of it was a tired night for him. He was exhausted. He really was.
Everybody was.
And think about it, man, like this is a rookie and he's trying to get used to playing in the NBA. Like that's difficult.
And he still had 21 and 12.
And he still had 21 and 12. And that's what I had written down here. He finished with 21 points and 12 rebounds, man. 12 rebounds for a 6'9". He was playing point guard that game, was he not?
He had some lineups where he was, the primary ball handler.
Exactly. So, and to be that primary ball handler and to finish that game with 12 rebounds was really great. I think personally that this is a little bit of a long-winded explanation, but I think that game, even though it was sluggish, and I think it was sluggish for this guy too, but I think it was the start of OG coming alive because I think that OG started the season too anxious. And what I think needed to happen was he needed to get dog tired, super, super tired to find his baseline and then work from there and find that because he's a decently consistent player even when he's tired. And I think that he can't be as anxious and doing all the types of things that he's doing, making mistakes on the floor when he doesn't have that amount of energy in him to make those mistakes. So he's going to revert back to what he knows he can do. Yep. And when he gets back to that point of knowing what he can do, then that's his baseline.
Then he
builds from there, and that's where he's got the confidence. Because what I'm going to say right now is that OG had 15, 5, and 5 in that game. That's a quiet stat line. 15, 5, and 5, but that's a decent stat. If you had any other player in the NBA putting up that stat line.
You know what I like from that stat line is the 5 assists. Because he's getting more attention as, one of the main guys. And I actually wrote down that from the Magic game. Like, he's just been making really nice reads. Mm-hmm. There's been times where, he looks a little flustered with 2 guys on him. but he knows when to like. He's good at making the dump off pass to the big, and yeah, I think he's already showing growth in that area.
And yeah, I think it's a really good point about because when he started the season, he was looked at to be the guy, especially with Pascal.
And it was like, OG's breakout year and all this hype and
fade
stuff.
away,
so hard,
step
so
backs,
hard
yeah.
to ignore that kind of stuff. So I think it's a good point where when you're tired, you're stuck to playing your game.
Mm-hmm.
How you
what he's been playing for the last year, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like you can't overdo it when you're tired.
Yeah.
And then that's how you play. Then you just build off that. I think it's a good point. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I noticed. He was 43% from 3, so he was 3 of 7, which was I think that was. He wasn't hitting any threes. The start of the season at all.
He was like 1 for 9 at the first game against Washington or something like that.
He was trying to be the stereotypical number one option. He was trying to be Jason Tatum. He was trying to be Kawhi Leonard. 100%. Right? And that's just not who OG is, and that's awesome. Like that's totally fine. Like he's a unique player. And now I think what he did was starting in that Dallas game is he started, I'll hit the open threes, I'll cut, I'll attack
taking
mismatches.
Taking lots more mid ranges. I think in that game he really started to focus on taking the mid range.
And but now he's can build off of hitting the 3. Now he's being like
we know he can hit those threes.
He's taken more. I saw a stat. He's taken more 3-pointers than Trae Young and Kevin Durant combined.
Yeah, exactly.
He's second to Curry, I think, in 3-pointers attempted this year.
Yes, I remember. I think you sent that into the group chat
or
something.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so I think 47% of his shots come from 3.
And that's crazy,
man.
And
because he's so strong, he can build off that 3 when the 3's respected it, and he shoots it at like a 40% clip.
Yes,
and
man.
He's
43% from 3. But the important thing that I want to mention is that he was 3 of 7. Okay, he took 7 attempts at 3 from that game. And the thing is okay. If he, based on how poorly he was shooting in the last couple games, what you might expect from a player who's going to fall to the wayside and maybe become a 10-point scorer per game or 12 points per game or something, who's somebody who might predict OG as being a lesser better player on the team or just an average player on the team, you might expect that to go, 1 of 4. You know what I mean? Or 2 of 4 or something like that, taking less shots because he's not hitting them. But what you're seeing is instead, no, I'm going to go take 7 shots this game, and he made 3 of them. And I think that was the start of him coming alive, and it was nice to see that.
Mm-hmm. And if we can add one more thing just while we're on this Pacers game, and Scotty Barnes' last Pacers game, the Raptors had a great win, 118-100. This is, far back now. But that was the first game I thought where Scotty, we're talking about his rebounding and his scoring. That game last week was when his passing really came out. I loved his half-court passing. And it's something that's what we all expected, right? Coming into this year, like, okay, the passing is going to be something we see right away. And it's been like the third thing to come around. But I just thought, like, he made so many just like the no-look passes are cool, but it's just like I think
he only had like 2 assists that game or something.
He had 7 the game before against Indiana. And it's just like,
just showing off different parts of his
game.
game.
And I just think it's
playing
like,
a different role.
Oh, there's so much to be excited about. I could talk about this whole podcast could be the Scotty Barnes chat.
Yeah. But no, I was thinking like I loved seeing that from him because again he's been trying to do all the flashy stuff, kind of show off what's in his bag. But I think when he just lets the game come to him and then make the right passes,
because he's so smart, he's gonna make the right decision.
Exactly. We just said this earlier in the year where he's going to be like our new Marc Gasol in a way of playmaking in the half court. And I would love that to be his role for a long time. I think it will be. And the Raptors
can build something from that, man, too. Like, to be honest, even though he's a rookie, I think a lot of guys can learn from Scotty.
I want next year, I want Scotty Barnes to be a starting point guard, officially starting point guard, and then Fred at the 2 again. He plays better off the ball.
I think we saw themes of that this week. Like
Fred
took more of a role where he's still our on-ball guy, and then he was letting OG and Scotty handle the ball. And Delano,
I was gonna say Delano against the Knicks. Delano and Fred were on the court at the same time a lot, relatively a lot that game, and Delano was bringing the ball up more than Fred was.
Yeah, and I think that just helps the whole team right now. Fred's a lethal option off ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's better off ball, so just as a player.
Yep.
The last thing I have about the Indiana game was that Svi picked up the slack. Svi picked up the fucking slack in that game. He had 16 points, shooting 50% from 3. He was 2 of 4, and he ended up in that game +8, only trailing one person on the team, who was Fred, who also had 16 points that game. And Svi came off the bench in that game. You know what I mean? Like we weren't expecting much from Svi. Svi wasn't
he was
playing
our spark
well.
plug because it was a whole sluggish game, right?
Exactly.
He was our spark plug.
Yeah, he had some energy. That was great.
Exactly. To think that a guy who we were a little bit disappointed with in his first couple game performances in the NBA, now coming off the bench, scoring just as many points as Fred, the main point guard, who's been with the team, Steady Freddy, and only ending up trailing him in plus minus by 1. Like I was very intrigued by that. And I mean, it's 50% 2 of 4. I mean, like, of course, that's not a whole lot of threes, but still that contributed a lot to that win.
That game we just needed scoring that game.
Exactly. We almost lost that game. Yeah. That was a very close game to being lost. So that's pretty much all I had to. What's that?
That's what you said.
It's a very close game to being lost.
Something dramatic.
It's like when you gotta stretch out an assignment for like another sentence.
Gotta meet the word count.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Go ahead, Elias, with your game thoughts on the
New York Knicks game.
Man, you got the
Elias's
best one.
New York Knicks. Were you conflicted watching this?
What?
Were you conflicted?
Absolutely not. Okay. Can we?
It's like the
It's Raptors up here, and then the Bulls are even the Knicks are even my second favorite team. It's the Bulls. So it's like Raptors way up here, and then it's like Bulls, Knicks, everybody else. But I just love the Knicks roster.
What I thought of when you were watching this game was was like that meme where it's like the guy's wearing the happy face mask, but like behind he's like crying and super fucking pissed. Like I was like, you're like, man, this is so great for the Raptors. They're fucking New York.
So good. Good job, guys.
But okay,
Beat the
so
Knicks, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So game thoughts.
Yes. Amazing showing by the boys. The fact that we won this game by 9 without Scotty Barnes, I think is incredible.
Oh man.
Because I'm not gonna lie.
You guys were in the chat doubting the boys, man.
Absolutely.
You guys were in the chat.
You can't say you weren't doubting them either.
No. I had a comment that said OG and Gary Trent Jr. are going to show up this game.
Yes, you did.
And what happened?
They showed up.
They did exactly that.
They showed up.
But you can't say in the back of your head you weren't a little.
No, I had my doubts.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I want you to say your stuff and then we'll talk about this because it's not my game. So
firstly, OG Anunoby had a career high 36 points.
Oh man!
In the Garden.
Let's give it up
In the Garden, Madison Square Garden.
OG, man.
That is one of the hardest places to get a career high in Madison Square Garden. He did it.
And the Knicks fans this year.
Man.
Knicks fans
Bing
this
bong.
year.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should get that as a drop as well.
That'd be so
Bing
funny.
bong. Every time we play the Knicks.
That'd be good. Yeah, God, what a freaking game by OG.
We did
it
did
was
what
crazy.
we were meant to do. You know what I mean?
And Gary Trent Jr. 26 points, 4 steals.
Wow.
And our defense won us this game too because it was the first quarter again. We allowed 34 points, 8, and we allowed 8 threes also. And to be honest, like I thought that was gonna, and like the first half of the second quarter too is the same trend. New York was killing us, and I was kind of like, we'll see what else can happen. But like I thought, we're not gonna win. And then our defense is literally what brought us back into the game.
100%.
Yeah.
Because the thing is with the Raptors is that we don't need Scotty to have a good defense because we have a defensive set already made no matter who's on the court. You could put Delano in that spot, and it comes from the defense that we were able to get a lot of the opportunities we did from that game. But sorry, I keep interrupting.
No.
I should just mute my mic.
No, you're good, man. Another big thing was the New York Knicks only had 3 fast break points this game.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're one of the best defenses in the league, right? Well, right now they're like middle of the pack, but they're projected to
really good.
They're projected to be still one of the best like by the end of the season. We only had 8 turnovers against this team.
Yeah.
And again, it was part of our transition defense and also lack of turnovers. Only 3 fast break points. So they're only scoring in the half court. And so that's what they were doing all for the first, quarter and half of the second quarter. They're all scoring in the half court. But then when we had our offense together and we were scoring a lot in the fast break this game also. They had 16 turnovers and we were just running the fast break really well with whether it was Delano or even Fred was running the fast break really well. Gary.
We caught up real quick after halftime.
Yep.
It was a tie game, almost.
We were down 4 going into the half. We were up 12 at the end of the third.
That's fucked. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my
38
goodness.
points in the third. Yeah, no.
And it was honestly watching the end of that Knicks game. I remember feeling as though we were beating them by more than what it was being represented on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Because we were just getting so many stops.
And
there was just so many flat possessions by the Knicks.
Something else I noticed that has been a trend for the past, this winning streak, is that last year we always were horrible coming out of halftime. We always lost whatever lead we had. We just the other team always won the third quarter against us last year. This year has been the total opposite. We've been coming out of the half very, very strong.
Yeah.
At least these past 4 games.
And you're about to blame it on Nick Nurse. You're like, I'm starting to think this is a Nurse problem.
It wasn't. Like last year, it had to be.
Sure.
Yeah,
Nick
no,
Nurse.
absolutely. But he
yeah.
made
But
these
he's
adjustments.
fixing
You know
it.
what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. No, I love Nick Nurse.
Like
and
having
I love that he
Chem,
can do that.
Having Chem start.
That was big.
I think
that was big.
was it was huge. It was. I honestly think in a certain way it changed the game.
I think part of the
he was
reason,
awesome.
part of our turnover problem is Precious, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's driving and
Yeah.
making bad decisions.
Driving into
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson 1-on-1.
And
like,
then either getting
what do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah, and then either getting blocked or just kicking out to a New York Knicks player.
Going up with his right hand, like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He did get blocked quite a few times.
And by
I
the
was
way,
like,
Precious has started the game tonight.
the third quarter.
Precious started the game tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, it just started.
Yeah,
Really?
he started, so that's something to keep an eye on.
All right.
Yeah, continue.
The third quarter though. So while Chem was playing in the third quarter, the 5 guys will play the entire third quarter. 0 turnovers that quarter.
Wow.
Yeah. Kem Birch.
Wow.
Kem,
Oh my God.
Kem Birch on the night was a +20.
That's so insane. Yeah. Oh, I did see that stat. I was looking at the stat. Dude, Basketball Reference has become my best friend.
Yeah.
I'm on
I
it.
love
And
it,
what?
dude. I
And
love
like
it.
Kem Birch, like, I mean, other than OG, you could totally argue he was our second best player, and he just and that's his box score is 6 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Like that's so
presence
unassuming.
is
He just
Oh,
he sets
man.
amazing
and it's
screens.
improved so much since
He's
last year
such a
too.
smart player.
And his
like,
rebounding.
his
He's
rebounding.
such a
He's
hustler on the
active.
rebound.
He's
Yes,
active.
exactly.
He's everything you want out of a player like
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, everybody underestimates Kem too. So when they see what Kem does, they're so surprised because, like, he just does everything that you want him
Well,
to do.
I heard a great quote from Alex Wong at Sportsnet. Said Kem Birch is the best average player in the NBA.
Yes, I heard that too. I
Absolutely.
heard that too.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
Dude, Lou Will's show's
awesome.
has been good.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think one critique, I'm sorry, of Lou Will's show. If anyone wants to watch,
Damn,
I
man.
love Lou Will. I love Lou Will, but
Lou Will or Will
one,
Lou?
Will Lou.
Lou Will's retiring after
My
the
God,
season.
sorry.
eh?
I get the names. Everything sounds the same, man. Fucking, one thing about Will Lou's show that I didn't particularly like is I think he took too many calls.
Oh yeah.
He took way
Some
too
people,
many,
some people
dude.
have stupid shit to say.
I know. And there was a bunch of casuals on there too, and I
Yeah.
was like, and then I remember hearing Will Lou answer, and he's like,
He's
yeah,
like, yep.
yeah, and he's like,
Thanks for the call.
yeah, fuck, man.
I'll talk to you later.
You think that if you're like an avid fan of the show or the Raptors, that you'd have like more constructive things to
Yeah.
say, but they're just like, Scotty
We're going all the
Barnes,
way.
yeah.
Let's go.
And I'm just like,
What do you
okay.
expect? What do you expect?
He's like, thanks for the call, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Some people had decent things today. But I just
Now
think
we
he took
got
too many phone calls.
Brent from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Brent, what you got? Scotty.
Yeah, exactly. Rookie of the year, rookie of the year. So I did actually think somebody did say that on the show, rookie of the year or soming. But not that he's not. It's just that's such a.
It's funny.
I don't know.
It's just funny.
I know
Whatever.
what you
Yeah.
mean.
So
But yeah, no. Great. RJ Barrett was very good for them.
yes,
It
dude.
makes me
I'm
happy,
so.
man.
Me
It makes
too,
me
man.
happy. It's
Yeah.
2
I'm
games
really
in a row
happy.
where he's been awesome.
I think he's
bro.
gonna have a come out year this year.
Dude,
Yeah.
Jack Armstrong, he's so relentless with the. And he's a guy that we're looking to have over the next few years, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean, man? Like this guy's now a top.
he's
we know,
prospect.
but Jack loves having all the Canadian players.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Like
dude.
we'll
He
play
does.
against Trey Lyles. He'd be like, "Here's Trey Lyles, right out of Kentucky. What a
Michael
built
Mulder.
he's built
Trey
quite a
Lyles,
career out of himself."
Trey Lyles from Saskatoon, man.
Is he?
Oh, that's right.
he's
Yeah,
from
that's
Saskatoon,
right.
Saskatchewan.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go.
I can't remember what school he went to. I think he went to high school, like St.
That's funny.
Mary's or something like that. But yeah, shout out to Saskatoon, man.
hometown.
Shout out
Yeah.
Trey Lyles.
Not
Is
quite
your,
my
okay.
hometown.
Home province.
Moose
That's
Jaw.
close.
Actually, the
Moose
town that
Jaw.
I grew up in was only like an hour away from Saskatoon. That was like the
Okay.
city that we went to.
So you can claim Trey Lyles is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
You
can claim
mine.
Trey's
And like let's like for OG, like that game, the way he scored was like, okay, first of all, his defense is always amazing.
Yep.
But he scored, he took 12 threes,
Oh,
hit
man.
4 of them.
Yes.
Threes off the catch, off the dribble.
Yes.
He scored in
Step back.
transition.
Step back, mid-range,
Step back.
and
Fadeaway
step back,
mid-range.
Three, yeah.
Post ups, like he scored in every way possible.
I
Like,
love it.
He like, and that's what I want him. I don't want him to just be only.
He had a career high. He had a career high, bro.
35. He was
36
5.
points.
This is 5th year career high in Madison Square
It is
fucking Garden. bro.
difficult. It is extremely difficult to have a 36-point game in the NBA.
Yeah, and that's what RJ Barrett was guarding most of the game, and like he's the best. He's the next best perimeter defender, and he's been really good this year. And I just like that's why I want OG to play. I like the mid range, and I like isolating and taking guys, but like that's got to be only part of your game. The reason those first 2 games he was only doing that But if he's posting up, if he's hitting the threes, then that opens up for him. And it's just, the way he puts it all together is it's awesome. He looks so good.
His game is really coming together.
Something else huge about OG that I've been noticing, he's coming out of his shell so much more this year.
Yeah, did you see that interview with him?
Yes, after the next game. He was talking so much. Like before, it was just like...
Yes, he was. And he was saying really good things, too.
Before, it's just like, oh, you played so well. Like, how did you do? He's like, oh, we came together as a team. He's like, did you see those little one-liners? Now he's like describing everything.
One thing that I want to
mention,
one thing that I do really want to mention out of the post-game interview that OG had was...
Are you talking about the one like on the court, or are you talking about after?
No, after the game. Okay. After the game. Was that he said teams can't sustain them staying hot. Yeah. They can't. You just can't do that during... I mean, some teams, maybe like if you're Curry and Clay, but... he was like, if we're gonna play the type of defense that we play, I mean, he didn't say all this, but what you got from the interview and what he said in general was like, if you're gonna play the type of defense that we play and we have our defensive schemes, we're gonna keep them to a minimum. We know what to do. Mm-hmm. The thing is I think where a lot of teams go wrong in the NBA, and one of the reasons why the NBA is now turning it a little bit into more of a defensive game, is because people just don't know how to contain a team. They don't know how to stop a team. They don't know when a team gets hot what to do. Yeah. Whereas I think the Raptors, one of the reasons why having this all big sort of lineup, or all the sort of same 6'8" to 6'9" lineup, is that you can basically put anybody in and run those same defensive schemes without having an extreme liability on the court, right? So those when you're switching everything like that, when you're coming off screens and you're switching everything, it doesn't matter because you're having a guy who's 6'9", 7 foot plus wingspan guarding everybody on the court, right? And even Fred, when you have a guy like Fred or Malachi or one of the shorter guys, it's like they still play really good defense.
And they're strong, right?
They're strong.
Yeah,
they know how to.
Fred can guard small forwards in the post.
Yeah, he's guarded Tatum in the past.
Yeah,
100%. And well.
And something else that's been sticking out the past two games, the Pacers game and the Knicks game, is how well we've been guarding their big guys. So the first quarter, and I took some notes. It was the Pacers game. How'd Sponis do the last one? I'm talking about the one.
He was good the last one.
Yeah.
But the one.
Right. But the one last Wednesday, a week ago, he scored the first 6 points to the Pacers, then scored 2 more points the entire night after that. And then Julius Randle yesterday had a crazy good first quarter. He had 18 points in the first quarter and scored 4 more the rest of the game.
And 2 of those were like at the end of the game, just whatever.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this, and we've said this multiple times, throughout the podcast that we've done and personal conversations that we've had, is that, like, the Knicks are a great team, but they just need someone to be a little bit more of a centerpiece than Julius Randle.
I was reading the comments after we beat them, and like the New York Knicks Instagram post comments, and all the fans were saying, build the offense around RJ instead of Julius. They stop giving the ball to Julius so much, give it to RJ.
Man.
Or just like everyone.
Or everyone. They're a team that can do that.
Yeah, you can't just live off, like, the reason I wasn't worried about the Raptors in that first quarter was Julius Randle was hitting the shots, right? The Raptors defense is still, like, they were letting him, what you want Julius Randle to do is shoot threes and force him to take contested shots off the dribble. And that's what they did. He banked one in and he hit them. Like, he hit shots.
He wasn't going to shoot 80% from 3 all game.
No, like he's not going to hit those all game, right? So you're going to live with that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what OG said. Okay, so I think, should we move on to the next segment here?
Let's do
Performer of the week. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first, I guess.
Okay, Sam will go first.
I found this. There was like so many guys I could have gone.
Exactly.
And
I have like 2 guys that I kind of want
to say. There were
like
so many guys. I went with Fred VanVleet this week.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
The numbers aren't great. The efficiency isn't great, but I do want to. Well, the efficiency actually is better than you think.
Better than it was first.
All right, Sam. So tell us. Give us a little here.
I loved how Fred VanVleet in the first week he was really pounding the ball, trying to run the offense, and I think this week he really settled down and learned. Okay, I can trust Scotty and OG to run the offense. But also he picked his spots and he hit so many big shots, big deep threes.
Yeah.
And his like big shots. And I just his defense is always great. And just so take a look at some of his efficiency numbers. He's a guy, and I've criticized him in the past for not being he's really bad at the rim and he's really bad from 2-point range. And in his career, he's consistently shot below 44% from 2-point. Last year, he shot 41% from 2-point range. This year, he's up to 49%.
Whew.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah. And this year, he's shooting almost 59% at the rim, 0 to 3 feet. Last year, he shot 53%. And a big one for me is that mid-range. And this year, from 10 to 16 feet, he's shooting 53%. And from 16 feet to 3-point range, last year, he shot 38%. This year, he's shooting 68% or 67%.
Wow.
So he's really got that in-between game down.
You know what I think it is with the layups and stuff like that? I think the only thing holding him back is that he gets blocked so much.
His misses are blocks.
But yeah, exactly. But when he doesn't get blocked, it's going in.
And the thing is, too, is I think based on the way he's played previous seasons and based on the way that people underestimate the Raptors and maybe how much Fred VanVleet has faith in himself, is that once he becomes more of a threat extended with shooting, he'll be able to make those layups because people will overplay him. You know what I mean? And then it's going to open up opportunities for him to get down low.
Yep.
And
he needs that. He needs to be able to respect it. Like a big thing if he's going to be the lead point guard, he's got to get downhill and get dump off passes. And if he's still, he's still not a great finisher, but if he's a little bit of a threat at 5'10", like that opens a lot up for the rest of the team.
Every time we talk about Fred VanVleet, he just gets shorter and shorter.
Okay, yeah.
Like last week, last week you said 5'11". No, last week you said 5'11", and you're like 5'10". Next week it's gonna be like
Makes
when
us
Fred
sound
VanVleet's coming in
I'm
at
trying to prove a point.
5'5".
He's 6'1", yeah.
No, he's not really 6'1" though. He's not my height.
He's 6'1".
He's not my
He's
height.
probably
man.
taller than you
it
think,
doesn't-
man.
Oh
He's-
yeah, no. I went to go to Raptors games. I see they're taller than you think, man.
This guy every time.
He's,
just
just to
shorter
prove
and
it, he's gonna be 5'9".
He's stubby,
next
though.
week.
He's
He's gonna be
stubby.
5'9"
Yeah.
next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Fucking Fred VanVleet coming in at 5'5". Okay, so
If we have a guy that's 5'3" that good, like that's big.
Muggsy
man,
Bogues and Fred VanVleet.
for being sub 5, dude. Like
The dude's unreal. Yeah.
this guy's looking like Muggsy Bogues out.
For being 4'6", I mean,
By the end of the year, he's the height of a toddler.
For being born with dwarfism, he's really
He's really good at
killing
finishing.
it out
Yeah.
there, man. He's like Hasbull out there.
Yeah.
that's so funny.
Okay. Anyway,
Also, Fred.
we have a lot of fun on this podcast.
Fred,
guys.
he already has been blocked 10 times. Last year, for reference, he was blocked 57 times.
Oh,
Okay, like
man.
there's some. I wanted to mention this before.
In
Like
52
against
games.
Indiana, both games, he's going at Miles Turner. Like, buddy, that's
Yeah,
the best.
Yeah.
That's the
that's
best
true.
shot blocker in
That's
the league.
true.
Like,
yeah,
He's going to block you every
it's
single
gonna be
time.
interesting when they play the Jazz.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, with
because-
Rudy Gobert.
yeah.
That's why that mid-range
Hassan
shot, though, is
Whiteside,
really
too.
important.
Yeah.
Because these bigs like to drop, and if he's playing the pick and roll so much, he can exploit that drop and hit the mid-range shot. It's awesome.
What was he shooting from mid-range again?
He's shooting from 16 to 3-point. He's shooting 67%, and he's shooting 53% from
That's
10 to
exactly
16.
like when a big gets switched on, they like to drop back so they can block him. If he can just make that little
Yeah,
pull up,
exactly. It's 100%. 100%.
that's huge.
Okay, Elias. So you have who's your player of the week?
My player of the week is OG Anunoby.
Awesome. I love how you guys we have
Because here's
all
the
different
Thank
players
God,
of the
I was
week.
Nice.
I was worried about
All
this too.
different players
That's,
of the week.
that's what I was hoping this week.
Yes,
So.
good. Me
Okay.
too. There should be 3 different guys because there's so many guys to talk about.
Yeah.
So
I actually kind of had 2 guys I wanted to mention, but
I mean I could have talked about all like Scotty,
Yeah,
OG,
yeah.
Gary,
Every
and
player.
Fred, every player.
Okay. So let's,
but yeah. So OG. So what really put it over the top of me was his career high against New York.
Yeah,
What a
totally,
game!
totally,
Like what
totally.
a game from a.
and the fact that we just didn't know where OG was, like his potential, his ceiling. So I think after that game really showed us, okay, OG.
He can be an all-star.
He can
this
be.
year, man.
I literally wrote that down.
Yeah.
OG has
Yeah.
absolute all-star potential and most improved. I
If
think
we
that
if we
easy.
are if we're 5th seed or higher by all-star break, he's an all-star hands down.
Hands
And then even if we're
down.
lower, he can still be an all-star.
I think honestly, there's multiple guys on our team who can fight
Yeah.
for all-star
Oh, yeah.
positions, man.
I think like at the point, if we're a good team, they'll pick the best player on the team.
Yeah.
And it's usually by stats, so they'll probably pick OG.
Yeah.
But like Fred, absolutely, and like I mean, I'm not
Especially
trying
because
to-
OG's
And
actually
our
now
all-star
like
is
a
coming
5-year
back.
vet.
and Pascal
Yeah.
hasn't even played
I
yet.
know,
man.
man. So I'm starting to forget that Pascal's on the team.
I mean,
I'm
me
like,
too.
we don't need Pascal. Like, we don't even need Scotty, man.
Hey, don't say that. Don't say
Yeah,
that.
kidding, just
I'll
kidding.
definitely take Pascal.
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
I'll take this home.
Yeah. I'm just
but-
kidding, but
yeah, no,
but for
so-
real though, just to show like, man, that it's a very good team that
Yeah.
any
It's
organization in
deep.
the NBA would love to have
deep.
without Pascal Siakam.
Yep.
You know?
They're scared to play us already. Teams are saying that
Yes.
after like all the coaches are saying they're better than you think. And they're
Exactly. I'm hearing
like-
it from YouTube. I watch a couple YouTube creators who make videos about NBA.
Yeah.
And this is the first year I've ever seen recommended videos in my suggested feed on YouTube about guys from the States who are now becoming Raptors fans because of the way they run the
they're
organization.
so fun to
man.
watch, dude.
They are, man. And you know what? It makes me proud to say that I've been a Raptors fan since like 2013.
Me too.
Because it's like, I mean, like, obviously I'm not a Raptors fan since the 90s, but to 2013, that's like, I feel like those are the start of the years where you really started to see the sort of vision that the Raptors
Yeah.
had. And if you were watching at that time, you understood that the Raptors have such a different vision and different goals than any other team in the NBA. Any other team. There's not a single
we do
team.
it differently.
We do it. We see
differently.
basketball
Yeah.
differently.
We're built different. Yeah.
I think
Straight up.
I think the only other team that you could potentially compare us to, even still, I don't think that this is a great comparison, would be the Bucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, height-wise and stuff like
well,
that.
well, I mean, in the sort of vision that they had is the long, lanky players, the defensive-oriented thinking.
Yeah.
But even then, I still don't think that they make even the
I
right
think
moves.
front office-wise, we're really similar to the Spurs.
Oh,
I
fair
think we're like
In
the
the
Spurs
heyday,
in the East.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like,
really
I'm
hope
saying, I'm
that-
saying the way the moves they make and things like that, the way they build their roster from they never miss on draft picks, and they're committed to building them. They haven't made a mid-season trade, the Spurs, for like 20 years.
It's crazy.
Holy.
Because they just build their guys up, right? Anyway, yeah. So OG Anunoby.
Sorry.
Yeah,
fuck.
geez, what do we get
Again,
done?
I gotta mute my mic.
No, you're good. So against Indiana last Wednesday, 25 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 steals, and efficient shooting plus 18. And against Orlando, Indiana, he had 16 points and 15 points. And but those are both relatively efficient games. And it's like that was like a mix. Like nobody was standing out scoring that game, so they were all middle of the pack games.
And the pressure this guy's under too, man.
Oh my
Holy
God, no,
fuck.
he's supposed
to
to
be
be the guy.
producing at all, man, is really impressive.
Orlando, he was +3, and he was the only starter to have a positive plus-minus that game.
Wow.
And something else, I guess we don't talk about New York anymore. That was just a crazy game. You know, much to say more about that. But he only had all week over those 4 games we just won, 7 turnovers, and he has the highest usage rate on the team.
Wow.
Can we say that again?
He had over those 4 games that we just won,
Yeah.
the 4-game winning streak. He has 7 total turnovers, and he has the highest usage rate on the team at 25%, almost
That's
25%.
And that's
Fucking
I think that
insane,
25%, like that's close
lot.
to like
Then
Pascal's last
looked-
year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That's
looked.
wild, man.
Everybody else's like Fred, Gary, and Scotty are all around 2021, and OG's at 25, and only 7 turnovers. So his ball
wow,
security
that's really good.
is crazy. He's making the right play, and it's not even a ton of assists either. I mean, he averaged 3.25 this week in assists.
That's not really the type of guy that he
no,
is.
he's
I mean,
not,
he
but
can
he's just-
absolutely
but
make
I'm
those
just-
passes.
No, but I'm just saying he's making the right passes.
Yes.
He's making the right
Yes.
moves.
When he
Quick
does
reads, too,
make the
right?
passes, they're the correct
They're the correct
ones.
ones.
Yeah.
He
Agreed.
just doesn't make bonehead plays. You know what I mean?
Yes, he's extremely intelligent. Highly intelligent.
Yeah. So that was my player of the week, and just more again, just how he's putting himself out there. I love to see that. And he's talking like before. Anytime there's a bad call in past years, he'd look at the ref like this for a second. That was it. He's actually talking to the rest now, which
Yeah.
like I mean,
He's got
it's not-
And he's
confidence.
getting
got
some
confidence,
respect
man.
too, man. He's
Exactly.
a fucking 50-year veteran, man.
And just that New York right after the game right after the game when they go talk to the best player or whatever. Just how much he was talking made me so happy.
I've
to
never
see
seen
that.
OG talk that much. Like he just like
I know he was going on and on. I
Yeah.
was like, yes, man.
I was like,
love
wow,
to
like
see
yeah.
that.
He's really taking a leading role. It's really nice to see.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. What you
All
got?
right.
All right, so I have Gary Trent
Nice,
Jr., man.
nice,
So
nice.
what
I was
I
hoping
have,
someone had him.
what
Yeah.
I had here was that it's easy to say OG. It's really easy to. I don't want to shit on you for that. Sorry.
Screw you, man.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's not what I mean.
Yeah,
I mean that OG is the obvious performer of the week.
Is it
Very
obvious? I didn't think it was obvious. I
Fred
had a tough
VanVleet,
time.
man.
Yeah, I had a tough time picking.
No, I don't
but-
know. I felt to me that okay, this is why.
I was between OG and Gary for my player of the week.
I
but
was
yeah.
too. I also was between another guy as well, but I'll mention him just a bit later. So the thing is, and here's what I have written down. I think it's easy to go to OG, but I think I always knew, even when they drafted him, that he had the potential. I'm somewhat, people would call me a Raptors optimist. I think they're always better than they are, and all this stuff. But that's just the way that I see the game, and that's the way that I see the team and the organization. And I like it that way because, to be honest, I've never been extremely disappointed. And last season I was disappointed, but I understood why, right? And I always knew OG had that potential because he was making extremely smart plays. When he was in first year, when he
started
as a rookie,
Yep.
as a rookie, and
He did,
and
didn't he?
Started
I know
LeBron.
I felt like I had always seen all-star potential,
Sure.
but person who I was less certain about was Gary. I was less certain about Gary Trent Jr. because he's the guy that they were paying out this huge contract to. It's not like he had a ton of hype around him before they made that trade. I mean, he had some hype, but it wasn't like, oh my God, it's Gary
No.
Trent Jr. You know what I mean?
Like just kind of average.
Exactly, and he was the one guy that the one thing that everybody said about Gary Trent Jr. before that trade and during that trade and after that trade was he was the type of guy that if you develop him in the right way, he could be very good.
He's only 22.
Exactly, he's 22. So one thing, the reason why I chose Gary was holy fuck, his defense, man. Sam
So
was
good. He's so-
criticizing.
I woke him
the
up.
defense.
I'll take credit for it. I woke him
Yeah,
up.
for sure. And
I'll take credit
You're
for
welcome,
it.
Gary.
but yeah, so his defense has just been I don't think there's a
Unreal.
single really player on the Raptors who's a liability on defense. We were watching that game the other day, and we were discussing. Oh yeah, Gary's probably the guy who's got. I think it was not the Orlando game, the Indiana game, and we were watching. Oh yeah, Gary's probably the guy who's got the most. Not the greatest of the defense out of the entire team, and then proceeds to get a steal, like right next to what we were watching. And I was like,
game-winning steal against Orlando.
that's what I wrote down. He had a game-winning deflection against Orlando. He's leading the league in steals right now.
Crazy.
This is insane. This is a guy who nobody thought, not even in the league, anybody would thought who would be playing the way that he is.
Defensive most true player in the league.
Absolutely.
Has to be.
Absolutely.
Has to be.
He is hustling so hard. I think the one thing that I absolutely love about Gary is he's buying in. He's absolutely 100% buying in. One thing that I really noticed when he was traded to the Raptors was his attitude was very much like, wow, he had a very humble, thankful attitude, a very gratuitous attitude.
Hyped for the opportunity.
He was so grateful.
And something I think that's huge, which the commentators, I think Matt said it one game, but is that when in Portland, he was behind Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. So he didn't have much opportunity over there. Now we're giving him so much opportunity, and he's taking advantage of it.
Exactly. You're seeing the best games of it, the best parts of his game exploited.
Yeah.
And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think that he's bought in simply because he knows in his head that the Raptors are a great organization. They just won a championship, and they've got a great vision of how they want to run their team. And I think he felt so grateful that a team like that was looking for a player like him.
We want him.
Exactly.
We want him. And we paid him right away also in the offseason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So his thinking, or at least what I think his thinking is now, is that I need to do whatever they say. Whatever they say. If I'm that defensive liability and people are saying this about me on the internet and saying this about me in the league, and this is the league rumors and news, and I'm going to lead the league in
You won't fit
steals.
on the Raptors, you don't play defense.
Exactly. And then what he does is now leading the league in steals right now, and it's fucking amazing. And he had 4 steals against New York. And you mentioned that earlier, but 4, man.
He had 5 against Orlando, I think.
Yeah, in the first half almost. I
Unfucking
just want to say one thing,
real.
like steals aren't everything in defense. But
No,
he
of course
will
not.
also there's some guys who get tons of steals. He's not that guy. Like
No.
he's the guy who
He's
gets
an
steals
actual
and he's
defender.
actually playing defense,
When you
right? Like,
watch him play, he's so locked in.
Yep,
His
he's making the right reads.
eyes
See,
are locked
what I
in
think
to the-
happens with those guys is they get steals based off of their athleticism, not
Right.
based off of, because the thing is Gary Trent Jr. is the guy we're talking about.
not
He's
that
not
athletic.
super
No.
athletic. So to see him playing as good of defense as he is, and getting those steals strictly off of defense, like you're saying, is really great.
It's awesome to
Another
see.
thing that I would my last thing that I want to mention about Gary is I think he's finding his rhythm as a player. His shots are finally starting to drop, and he's becoming a real offensive threat.
Sure.
I think that the shot creation for himself and for other teammates has just been unreal.
That's huge because we've been needing a shot creator, right? And if OG's been stepping that up, but Gary's been our best shot creator.
Right. And the thing is, what I meant before when I said I was less certain about Gary was I meant that I don't know if it was going to take him this year to find his shot. And, I didn't know how that particular part of his game was going to go around or come about this season, but I think it's happening faster than I would have expected. And I'm so thrilled with how Gary's playing. I think it's just, yes, I'm very, very happy. So
it's been awesome.
Let's move on to questions.
Let's do it.
Fuck, man. I think we might have some news for you guys over the next, and maybe in the next podcast, but we won't talk about it right now. But we're like halfway through what I kind of have written down here. So,
my question won't be too much here. So.
All right. So we're moving on to questions. So let's start with Sam.
All right. My question is, what is your? I mean, we talk so much about defense. What is your best 5-man defensive combination for the Raptors when the whole team is healthy? What's your ideal combination?
Let's go first, Elias here.
Yeah. So my answer to this question, I think it's honestly pretty much our starting lineup right now. Almost. I think Fred, Gary, Scotty, and OG all have to be there if we're talking about our best defensive lineup. And then I was kind of split between Pascal and Kem Birch for the center. I think I want to pick Kem though because he's a better rebounder. And that's part of defense. Defensive rebounding is huge. That's how you finish defensive possessions. I think Kem's going to get that for you more. So that's mine, man. I mean, Gary has to be there after what he's shown this year. Scotty has to be there, obviously. OG has to be there, obviously. And then there's no better defensive point guard team than Fred. And Fred's a great defender, obviously. So yeah, that's it for me. That's it for me.
Mine is a bit different, to be honest.
Really?
Mine's gonna be different too.
Really?
I'm really
Yeah.
sorry I snubbed this guy, but I just think that this is just my personal opinion, right? And I'm open to change, of course, as we all are. If you're gonna be a Raptors fan,
I won't judge you.
Pascal.
Let's put Shay's in there.
Yeah, Pascal, Gary, OG, Kem, and Scotty. I think that's who it was. For
No,
me.
so no Fred.
No Fred.
No, so is Scotty the point guard in that lineup? Then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Scotty's running the point.
So
We've
mine's
got
different from that.
I was thinking
Gary at the 2, OG at the 3, and then Pascal and Kem. I think Kem center. And then,
I was thinking about that exact same thing, to be honest. I thought about putting Scotty at the 1, but
I mean, he's young and stuff,
yeah,
but to be honest, man, his defense is just ridiculous.
No,
Like,
it is.
doesn't-
His only thing is
like-
his off-ball defense hasn't been great early on.
Yeah,
He's
it's
just
true.
like rookie mistakes, all right? I think by the end of the year, it's gonna be good.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think out on the floor, when he's out on the floor with Pascal, Gary, OG, and Kem, it's only gonna lift him up. And
because he's around smart defenders.
The other thing that why I chose Scotty over Fred was because he has the versatility to be guard multiple positions, whereas
switch, yeah.
Fred is that one guy where the teams look as their sort of target to attack on offense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, so when you have a lineup as big as Pascal and Gary's not a small
He's
guy.
6'5".
Yeah, when you have a lineup as big as Pascal and Gary's a big guy too. Like he's wide. As big as Pascal, Gary, OG, Kem, and Scotty, you really have no clear liabilities, especially if we're considering how well Gary's been playing on defense. But
So mine's even different from that. Mine is Fred, Gary, Pascal, Scotty, Yuta.
Interesting. I was thinking about you.
I thought-
so no OG.
No, wait, OG. Fred, Yuta, Scotty, Pascal, OG. No Gary. Just
Okay.
No
hear me
Gary.
out. So
Okay.
hear
The
me
length,
out.
I can understand why.
And also just I wanted to do something a little different. But I thought Yuta was probably the most Raptors, other than OG and Pascal, but one of the Raptors' most consistent defenders last year. Like I've never seen anyone close out the way he closes out. Like it's just amazing.
It's true.
His held defense is great. I love him as a defender. He's like he can totally switch. He can switch like 1 through 4 realistically enough.
Yes, absolutely.
And just the Gary, like you can throw Gary in. Like that's the joy of having the Raptors, right? You've got so many, or you can put Kem in, right? You've got so many qualified, great defenders. But I really like the dynamic of Pascal, Scotty, OG, and Yuta. Those 4 flying around and getting it up to 3-point shooters, and then
the
Fred is like your
man.
and then Fred is like your steadying force
Yuta is
there.
a good rebounder.
He's a great rebounder, and just I love I think opposing teams, like 3-point shooters on opposing teams with those 4 guys running around at you, and you can even throw Boucher in there for Scotty if you want. Like that's like I love that dynamic.
You guys love Yuta Watanabe.
I love him.
Man.
I
I was watching
you'll
a
see, I
YouTube
love
video
him.
the other day talking about it was an American guy who made a video about the Raptors, and he didn't even mention you mentioned Yuta Watanabe, and I was like, my guy, he is so slept on.
Yeah.
He's good. He had a 21-point game last season that was solid all the way through. As soon as he got in the Raptors, he played completely solid.
He's a total 3-and-D
Like,
player. Like
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Maybe I'm sleeping on him too. I think he's cool. I like him.
No, man.
But-
I think the way that he's going to integrate himself into this team, even compared to last year's team, is going to be even better. I mean, maybe it'll take some adjusting. Maybe I'm a little bit overhyping, but I think the reason I like Yuta so much is because of his attitude, man. Like just how he approaches the game and how he's just the reason why I think I like him so much is because he's just as grateful as any other of those guys.
He's
to
a
be on the
grinder,
team.
man.
He absolutely is.
If he doesn't get playing time, I hope we trade him just so we can go somewhere and
and he's
actually
smart,
play.
man.
He's
really
good enough. He's good enough to
basketball
play.
Player.
He just makes
I
the right plays.
I
and
honestly think Nick loves Yuta, man.
he's like a Raptor. Like he's athletic, makes the right. Like he's super
He's a
athletic.
good
Makes the right
I just
three-point
don't
plays.
know. I just don't know where he fits in the rotation.
I think I
We'll have
would.
to see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We really will have to see
Yeah.
because even now the lineups have been weird. And
No, they've been
all over the
changing
place,
constantly.
yeah.
But like right now, like I'm.
fucking
Justin Champagny was playing.
Yeah, Justin Champagny was playing, but also Precious started tonight.
Right.
Like what you're telling us, and
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone was saying that Kem should start. So Elias, go forward with your question.
Yeah. So my question is, it's kind of a generic question, but I think we got to talk about it because there's so many candidates for this. Who was your guys' MVP through the first 8 games for the Toronto Raptors?
I think what I said here is Scotty's a no-brainer, but I also want to mention Gary,
As
just
MVP?
because of
as MVP of the team.
this is why.
Okay.
Because because of his massive improvements and because of how he's been playing on defense, we wouldn't be winning the games that we are because of how he's been playing on defense. I don't think that the games that we've played so far, and that's why it was a little bit of an underdog choice for MVP. I know that's
I don't have either of those guys.
I know it's a little bit of a weird choice, but the only reason why was because his defense, without his defense, we would not be in the position we are as a team. Yeah. We just wouldn't. Like, he's literally leading the league in steals.
We needed that.
We needed it. Absolutely needed it. And just to see his improvement, I think that he kind of deserves it right now. So
sure.
And sorry, I also wanted to mention this guy as well, is Kem.
Kem
as MVP.
No, because Kem has been steady as a rock.
He has been.
And he's much needed out there. Like truly, he's another one of these guys that if we had Precious out there the whole time, we would have not won those games.
We would have lost last night.
There's no way,
2
man.
nights ago.
He truly is their main center, and he's fitting like a glove into the team. He's a forgotten gem in the NBA.
So I didn't go as underdog as you look. I went with OG as our MVP.
Yes.
I think he's got the highest usage rate on the team. After those first 2 games, he's been really good. He's really come along, and his defense, I think he's the best perimeter defender in the NBA. The second quarter against the Pacers last Wednesday, was the best defensive quarter I've seen from OG in his career. Like, the way he can guard on ball, off ball, like, the guy is just, I've never seen a defensive player like him on the Raptors. I think the only comparable defender versatility wise, like on the perimeter, is Ben Simmons. Like, it's those two for me, and just a league of their own in the NBA. Like, the guy is, and it's almost just for that defense, and the fact that he's doing that with the highest usage rate in the team, and he's giving you 20 points a night, like, it's hard to replicate that.
Yeah. I had OG as well for my MVP. I think, like he said, there's no, in my opinion, right now, there's not very many better two-way players in the league.
Yeah, that's
very
true.
The way I think of MVP is, if you take them off the team, how much does it hurt? I think out of all Raptors players, we take OG off the team. That's what hurts us the most.
Yeah,
it's a great point.
That's very true.
Also, shout out to Fred. We
didn't mention him, but
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
He was my runner-up.
He was my second choice. Yeah,
me too.
Okay, so sorry, my question. Yes, my bad. Sorry, I almost completely skipped.
All right.
My question.
It's okay.
So based on the growth that we've seen over the last week, is it sustainable throughout the season? And you know how much we love sustainability on this podcast. And what can it tell us about how the rest of the season might go? I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say.
They're gonna lose again.
Absolutely.
Throughout the year, but the way they've been playing.
Will they though?
Yeah, they're not losing. They're going undefeated, right?
Really, Sam, that's a hot take.
But
Sam with the hot takes.
Hey man, I get clicks.
Losing a game. What? No.
I make clicks, man.
82-0 season.
Even though we've already lost 3 games.
79-3.
We'll play games to make it back.
Yeah.
Exhibition games.
85-3.
The first exhibition game of the entire NBA.
Yeah. I think but I think the style we've played is totally we can totally sustain that throughout the year. It comes down to defense. Like, this team, we're not going to shoot as the Raptors had a really hot shooting night against the Knicks. That's actually rarely probably going to happen throughout the year.
Yeah.
The team is going to have to build off of its defense, and when we do that, we can win the grinded out games against the Pacers. And I think in regular season, I've got so many questions for the playoffs, but in the regular season, that wins you games because you come out, you're trying harder than the other team, and if you play defense, a lot of the times you're going to be in a really good have a really good opportunity to win the game. Yeah. So I think they can totally. There's going to be a lot of struggles, and with getting guys like Pascal and Yuta and hopefully Scotty
and injuries,
soon back.
Man.
Yeah.
We've already got Scotty injured.
Yeah, but once we get these guys back, then I think they can totally replicate this. Yeah.
Awesome.
He pretty much touched everything I was going to say. So I think yes, and I think it's totally sustainable because of we're so defensive oriented. If we just play the same defense, we're going to play the same offense essentially, right? Because that's how our offense is based on our defense. Mm-hmm. We play so much transition. So yeah, I think it's totally sustainable. Just we keep our defense saying what you will, because it's our defense, right?
And the fight is always there,
exactly.
Even when we lose. Man.
Exactly.
Man.
But again, I also had written down here that we're gonna have to reincorporate Pascal when he gets back, and that's gonna be a bump in the road.
It is gonna be a bump in the road.
We're gonna lose some games. We're just trying to get everything back into it. But I think once we do,
he really hasn't played in a long time, man.
Mm-hmm. He's the type of player though that can impact the game without.
Yeah.
Not he's just putting Pascal in just for his defense is just already gonna help the team.
Something
out.
I'm a little scared about is that he is gonna want the ball quite a lot.
Yeah.
Which that's gonna be an adjustment, because again, he had the highest usage rate in our team the past 2 years.
And he will when he comes back.
Yeah, exactly.
He's coming back with vengeance too. He is.
He has a chip on his shoulder.
He's a team player. I think it'll take maybe a week or two, but I think the baseline effort and talent is there that you can scrape by and win enough games.
I think we gotta be patient when Pascal comes back. We gotta understand, it's he's getting back into his rhythm and everything like that. He won't be amazing right away.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry guys, we got to keep moving on. We're almost out of time here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Looking ahead.
All right.
Quick. You know what? Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna give my opinions for looking ahead until the last one. I'll let you guys take over looking ahead.
Sure.
All right.
Go for it.
All right. So we got on the game on Wednesday will have happened by the time you guys see this.
Happening right now.
Yeah. As of now, the
Missing
Raptors
it right
are
now.
up 52-42 with 3 minutes left in the second.
End the
Cavs.
podcast right into halftime. Go get some
Yeah.
snacks up at the Irving
That's
station.
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland against Toronto. I'm really excited for this because this
Me
is a
too.
team that starts 3 7-footers against our 6'9" team, and it'll just be
And none of them can create for themselves offensively.
no. It's gonna actually be a really weird mix of styles. This might be like an 88 to 88, 87 game.
I think
you know
we
what
could
I mean?
low-key destroy Cleveland. They're so slow.
Right, just getting up and running.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
so slow.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I think before the Orlando game, you said that the Orlando game be a blowout, which I thought it was going to be also. But this could be another game that's sneaky close. But I really think we're going to blow them.
And
out,
I
not gonna lie.
hope
if we're
Scotty's-
playing how we're playing.
Oh, I hope Scotty's back for that one.
Me
to play.
too.
Evan Mobley.
Me too. Then we got the Nets. Anything else you want to say about?
No.
Okay. Then we got the Nets on Sunday. That's going to be a good game. I think that's another game where we got to run because they're all old heads, right, on that team.
Yeah.
they're all above 30. So I think that's a game we just got to run and shut down KD as much as we can.
And just throw. You've got so many guys you can throw at KD, Scotty, OG, even like Precious. Never mind, not Precious, but Scotty, OG, Delano. Even like you've got the guys you can throw at KD.
We'll always have somebody on the floor that can guard.
Yep.
That can guard. KD,
Realistic.
won't
You
stop
can never
him.
guard KD, but can
Can
hang
slow
with
him
him.
down.
Yeah.
Hang with him. Yeah.
And then Boston on the Wednesday. So nice little
Boston's
2-night
been
break.
so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my
really
god.
bad. They're falling
blew
apart,
that-
man.
They blew that lead against Chicago. Did you see that? They were down. They were up 14 going to the fourth quarter, then lost by 14.
Crazy.
At home too.
Yeah.
I'm-
The only sorry, this was the one game I did want to
Yeah.
touch on. I think that it could be another win. And not only that, but when we first played Boston, we weren't gelling the same way we are now.
No, we won
And-
by like 35.
And I literally have here written down like Boston is falling apart, man. Like
Yeah.
Apparently they're having locker room troubles. Marcus Smart said that Jaylen Brown and Jason didn't have to pass more. He said
I
that
know.
in a
Crazy,
post-game
bro.
interview.
yeah, Boston's struggling, man. And if we come off 2 wins, from Cleveland and the Nets, I think that there's almost no way that Boston can win that game.
If we beat Brooklyn, that would
And
be
it's-
crazy.
Yeah, and
I hope so.
And me too. It's I think a lot of it. I definitely do think that the Boston game is super winnable.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be even more winnable if we come off winning in Cleveland and then also win against.
I just think
the
we
Nets.
match up so well against him.
Yeah.
Assuming Scotty, he'll be back by then. If we just throw Scotty and OG at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they have nothing. Schroeder's not anything like that.
No.
Marcus Smart's not offensively gifted at all.
And Robert Williams has struggled so far.
Yeah,
so.
and Al
man.
Horford is.
He's actually
35.
been good.
Man, I
Matt.
kinda
He's been
wanna-
good, but he's
yeah,
35.
yeah.
you
I
know.
kind of want to put an F in the chat for the Celtics, man. They got a lot of individual.
Oh, I don't care about them. I don't care.
Not
I
the
want-
organization. I just feel bad for guys like Jason Tatum and.
But they're the
Sure.
problem.
They're our rivals,
Marcus
man. I
Smart's
want to
right.
see him. I want to see them burn down.
Marcus
man.
Smart's right. They got to pass more, man. That's only them
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He just
But to be fair, also
I don't
there's
like
not
Jaylen
much to pass
Brown.
to.
I don't like Jaylen Brown, but I do
Really?
like
I
Tatum.
love Jaylen Brown.
yeah. I'm the other way around for it.
I love Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
I like them both.
Kill to
but-
see Jaylen
but
Brown in the
just-
Raptors. That's the winner of the game gets to have Jaylen Brown.
Anyway, yeah. Is that it?
Is that it, guys?
I think we're good,
I
man.
think so.
Okay, man.
Let's go watch
All
this
right.
game.
All right, so thank you guys for tuning into the RapChat Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at RapChat Podcast, where we post new clips of the show every week. And we will see you guys next week. I'm your host, Luke Dick. Well, I'm one of your hosts, Luke Dick. This is...
Elias Eldridge.
And Sam Kenny.
All right, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Peace.